in the middle of his chest. Once, then twice, each time causing him to flinch. He was in agony, and when Jackson saw the woman's hand move again, he turned and ran as fast as he could. He reached the corner, clutching his wounded arm, and thought, who the hell was that? Whoever she was, Jackson decided, as blood continued to ooze through his fingers, he'd picked the wrong lady. Looking around her carefully, she saw that there was no one else in the square. Good. Calmly, she took a tissue out and wiped the end of the Stanley knife, sticky from her assailant's blood, then retracted the blade. Normally she would never have resisted a street robbery, but there had been no way she was going to give the man her bag. A light went on outside one of the houses, and a curtain was drawn back, so she moved away quickly, still holding the Stanley knife, in case the man was waiting for her, ready to have another go. But leaving the square, she saw no one on the pavement ahead of her. A taxi passed by. It held a couple necking in the back. At the corner she turned into a small side street which ended in a cul-de-sac. She stopped at the entrance to a large mansion block, let herself in, then climbed to the second floor. Here she unlocked a door and entered a flat, turning on a light in the small sitting room. The place was sparsely furnished by the landlord, gloomy in its bareness, but it didn't matter to her. She wasn't staying long. She only rented for a month at a time, and this was her third place. She knew that once her orders came, she would be living far more comfortably. She went to the bedroom, where 2 computer bags sat in the corner, and carried them both to the pine desk in the sitting room. One bag held a small black machine that resembled a sleek sort of CD player. The other was a laptop computer. Connecting the two with a USB cable, she pressed a button on the black machine and watched as it transferred to the laptop data that it had recorded in her absence. On the computer, she then ran a software routine that filled the screen with numbers. Sitting down in front of the desk, she reached into her own bag, the one the man had tried to take from her, and took out a large hardcover book. It was a novel, well thumbed, an instance of the finger post. She wondered idly if she would ever read it. She opened the book, flicked through it, and finding the page she wanted, carefully put it down next to the computer and drew up a chair. 20 minutes later she was finished. On a scratch pad, she had a list of numbers, each with an accompanying word she had written down. She stood up now and took the single page of Russian text to the lavatory, where she ripped it into small pieces before flashing it away. She put the black machine and the laptop into their respective carrying bags, then returned them to the bedroom. Finally, she came back to the desk. She decided to allow herself a cigarette and fished in her bag for a pack of Marlboros. What she really craved was a Sobrani. Presumably one of the fancy tobacconists in London, like Davidoff's, would sell them, but Marlboros would have to do, she thought, as she lit her cigarette. Always remember, they had drilled her again and again. It's the little things you think don't matter that can give you away. She had memorized the message on the single page of text, and now she ran over it in her mind, focusing on the key instruction. You should begin now. Chapter 2. I suppose it all went as well as could be expected. Charles Weatherby was standing by the window of his office, looking down at the Thames, where the little waves bristled, saw-toothed in the late November wind. A tourist cruising boat moved jerkily in the chop, its decks empty, the few passengers sitting snugly in the cabin below. "Thank goodness it was no worse," said Liz Carlyle from her chair in front of Weatherby's desk. She had given evidence to the inquiry for over 3 hours. Weatherby had been there a day and a half. Now he looked tired, strained, and, unusually for him, made no effort to disguise it.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.